Caution: this game contains scenes of violence and gore, as well as depictions of criminal acts. These acts are strictly punished by law. Please do not attempt to imitate them. This game also contains themes of sexual violence and self harm. This game is a work of fiction. Any relationship to real persons, groups, places, or crimes is coincidental. She'd actually swung the sword. Huh! Cowering on the spot, I covered my head. If I hadn't dodged it, it would have hit my head for sure. I doubted it would have cut me, but with that kind of force behind it, it would have given me a concussion and permanently dented my skull. I hated pain. What the hell are you doing? It was so shaking that my speech got all messed up. Girl B looked down at me coldly. This chick wasn't normal, waving a sword around in the middle of a crowd. Wait, was she in the midst of a hit and run? Was she a spree killer? Or could she be the new Jin culprit? Or the demon girl's accomplice? Please let me oogle you more. If it's with this girl, I'm willing to get down on my hands and knees and beg with all my heart and soul. If given the choice, I'd prefer being stepped on. I've got nothing against a little swordplay, if you know what I mean. She's gonna kill me with that sword either way. Help. Don't kill me. The next thing I knew, I was trembling. It felt like I was this close to pissing myself out of sheer terror. Hmm. What don't you understand? I'm only asking if you can see it. What the hell was she talking about? If I said I couldn't see it, would she kill me? How was I supposed to answer if I didn't even know what I was supposed to be seeing? Calm down. I'll ask again. This sword, this D sword, can you see it? Huh? D sword? It was the first time I've ever heard that word. It had been referring to the sword she was holding, but I decided to just nod. I mean, I obviously could see it. There'd be something wrong with me if I couldn't. Lugging around a sword that large and conspicuous, and in Sinto Gai no less. I'd be willing to accept it if this was Akiba, but in Shibuya, all places? So you too have been gathered. Huh? Gathered? Who, and by whom? At the very least, I was definitely here voluntarily. Have you seen an error before? In Japanese, please. Was what I wanted to say, but unsurprisingly, I wasn't brave enough. Then again, if I said the wrong thing, she'd probably stab me, so. Regardless, this chick had been spouting nothing but nonsense ever since she'd first opened her mouth. Tell me if you see one. After she said that, Girl B turned around. Her skirt fluttered in the breeze, and I could almost see her panties. I hurriedly shut my eyes. Solitary train car stood stock still near Shibuya Station. It was a car that was open to the public, with many referring to it as the Green Frog. Sena sat inside of it, biting her thumbnail. She looked out the window and watched the passerby with disinterest. She and Nishino Takumi had spoken at length yesterday on this very train, and today she had come here once again. She hadn't gone to school. Attendance was the least of her worries. She was constantly driven by feelings of impatience. As a result, she would often get very irritated with others, leading to a fairly harsh behavior toward them. Where the hell are you, Hatano? Her voice swelled with hatred, all of it directed toward a single individual. She dug her hand into her uniform pocket and took out a piece of paper. It was a small, crumpled scrap of paper torn from a memo pad. Written on it was something resembling an algebraic formula. The letters were fading and dull, perhaps due to aging, or perhaps because it had been written in pencil. Only one part remained barely legible, and that was IR2. It was the scribblings of Sena's father from long ago. Needless to say, she did not exactly treat it like a holy artifact. Instead, she simply kept it close so she could always remember the hatred she held for her father. Sena's family was once a happy one. However, the moment her father had scrawled a certain formula onto this piece of paper, slowly, silently, yet certainly, madness began to envelop everything. Sena's father had once been a corporate scientist. Sena had just been an elementary school student at the time, and while she didn't understand the type of work her father did, she knew he was always busy. He was rarely home. Occasionally, he would come home and show his affectionate side, but that almost never lasted even a day, and he would be back to work before anyone knew it. It was not that she disliked her father, but she was a little disappointed to find that she could not think of a single time her family had ever sat down for a meal together. Then came a day about 6.5 years ago, where her father returned home from work. Like his usual calm and collected self, he had been brimming with excitement. Sena, your old man's discovered something amazing. This is something that reaches far beyond even a Nobel Prize. What do you find that's so amazing? This formula will change the world as we know it, overthrowing the mechanisms behind its very function. It's monumental. As he spoke, he held a memo pad before Sena's eyes. Written on it was the IR2 equation. I've spent so long searching for this, I couldn't come up with anything, no matter how hard I tried. Project Noah had slowed to a halt. It reached deadlock by valve. But with this formula, the project can advance on to the next phase. I never would have guessed it was in such a strange place. I feel as if divine light itself has blessed me. Right, at Tokyo Station. I was just walking by. What are the odds? Have you seen Tokyo Station? The size of that place. It's enormous. There were these essays on display in one corner of the station. It was an exhibition by the Ministry of Education, showcasing essays from a nationwide writing contest. The essays were all written by excellent students. Did you know about it, or perhaps did you apply? I didn't know about it. I think, I don't know. If you had, I'm sure the judges would have adored your entry. That's not true. I'm not very good at writing. Is that what you think? Well, I think you should have more confidence in yourself. So, you found another person's essay? Was that the big discovery? No, no, not the essay. The essay itself is of no consequence. The only important part is the scribbling on the back of the page. The essay was sitting in a clear plastic display so you could see the back of the page through it. It likely wasn't specifically meant to be displayed like that. They just happened to be transparent. I'm absolutely certain that the event organizers never meant to show the backside of that essay. The odds of me finding that formula were astronomically slim. I wonder if this is what they call a miracle. By formula, you mean like math? Yes, that's right. It's a very difficult mathematical formula. Can you really change the world with math? Yes, you really can. Everything about your old man's research involves changing the world. Really? I don't know if I believe you. Someday I'll prove it. Just you watch, Senna. It had been over 6.5 years since that day. Gritting her teeth together, Senna shoved the paper back in her pocket. She gazed through the window, her eyes focused on the dull sky above. Undoubtedly, the world would change soon, just as her father had said. Senna's own world had already undergone many drastic changes. Vileness, havoc. Everywhere you looked, you would find more. it had become an unfathomably hideous place. A world like that can't be allowed to exist. I'll kill that bastard and stop it myself.
Several months later.
The seventh case.
It happened again. Another new gen. How long was this damn thing gonna go on for? Was I next? Would I be the victim of the 8th case? The 9th? Anxiety aside, Grim was pretty much the new gen news guy at this point. He'd been keeping me in the loop about basically everything. Even now, he was going out of his way to link a bunch of blog posts and news articles about it. Seemed like he really wanted me to take a look. Biting my lip, I reluctantly clicked the first link.
Seventh Nugent case, dubbed the DQN Puzzle. On November 4th at approximately 4:50 a.m., the dead bodies of 3 men were discovered, hanging from... Oh, that's fast.
At approximately 4:50 this morning, near a railroad in Shibuya, a passing newspaper salesman discovered the bodies of 3 male homicide victims suspended from an iron pole. The police investigation discovered that the victims were all residents of Shibuya: Fujita Kohei, unemployed; Anzawa Saburo, a college student; and Takagi Ryo, a construction worker. Each victim had been severed in half at the waist. The upper and lower bodies were then interchanged with each other and stitched back together with thread. There were also mysterious wounds carved into their foreheads, and the police are investigating the possibility that they may be a message left by the culprit. The authorities believe the case is a part of a series of grotesque murders that have been occurring in Shibuya over the past 2 months. The investigation is ongoing. At the end of the news clip, photographs of the 3 victims were shown. I had seen those faces before. It's them. The guys who beat me up yesterday. I'd given them my wallet, but they'd kicked my ass anyway. I'd then fallen unconscious, and when I woke up, Kozupi was right beside me. The 3 of them had been collapsed on the ground, covered in blood. I took my wallet out from my pocket and stared at it intently. When I came to, Kozupi had been carrying it, and she'd given it back to me as soon after. Could the person who killed those 3 be... No, definitely not. The last time I'd seen them, they'd been beaten to a pulp and covered in blood, but they hadn't been cut in half or anything. Which would mean they'd been killed after Kozupi and I had left. It had to have been Shogun. That wrinkly asshole was trying to provoke me. Damn it. He really was committed to driving me insane. Just how far was he willing to go? I wanted to vomit. I clutched my stomach as it churned in pain. Was I next? Who would I be next to die? It was also possible that Shogun could show up in person again. He seemed to be playing with me like some kind of game, after all. Maybe he'd feel like sending me on another quest soon. Just the thought alone terrified me. I tried to grasp my D-sword, but even that was just to protect myself from him. Without that sword, how could I ever hope to escape his evil clutches? It felt like he was holding a knife straight to my throat. Like he was saying, I can kill you whenever I please. Please, just let me go. What had I done to deserve this? I couldn't take it anymore. Someone save me. Please. Remy, where did you go? Weren't you supposed to protect me? No, I couldn't rely on Remy anymore. I had even gone to school today just to see her, but she hadn't been there. Almost like she was never there to begin with. So I had to find someone else. Someone else who I could rely on to protect me. And the first person that came to mind was... If you continue down this path, whether you desire it or not, your consciousness must be strong enough to create positive from negative. If you don't, if you half-ass it, your delusions will devour you from within. Aye, Sena. Yesterday, when the two of us had gone our separate ways, she'd given me that piece of advice. She definitely knew something. She also had a D-Sor. She seemed strong too. Would she be my savior? If not, I was doomed. The following day, I made my way to the front of the station. In all honesty, I really didn't want to go back there. After all that traumatic Esper BS, the front of Shibuya station brought back nothing but bad memories. According to my stress, adding to my stress, just like usual, there were way too many people. The area around Hachiko was absolutely infested with normies loitering around. Everyone kept glaring at me and sneering as they pointed their phones at me. And when I turned around to look away, my eyes wandered up toward the towering Or front, the very building where I had committed social suicide only a few days ago. Videos covering every angle of that night continued to make their rounds on the internet. They would likely continue to spread across the world for all eternity. Erasing them was pretty much impossible at this point. I was going to spend the rest of my life as the internet's favorite punchline. I was so frustrated, angry, and sad. It made me want to get as far away from it as I possibly could. But knowing Shogun would kill me the second I tried to escape, I was forced to painstakingly stand my ground. I cautiously stepped foot into the carriage known as Green Frog, trying my hardest to avoid looking at my surroundings. Unsurprisingly, there she sat, Ai Sena, the train's sole passenger. It took me a minute, but I realized that the reason why no one else was in the car was likely due to Sena's own handiwork. She'd used her gigolomaniac powers, or whatever they were. You again. Did you locate any errors? Shaking my head lightly, I handed her the Garugari-kun I'd bought in advance from the local convenience store. It was my way of getting my foot in the door. Here. I know it's not much, but I hope you like it. Oh, no, please, don't worry about it. Thank you very much. And that's how it would go, all according to the stupid-ass Japanese custom. But even though I knew it was idiotic, not even I would stoop as low as to ask for protection without giving something in return. As payment for her services, I would give her 3 Garigari-kuns a day. It was an offer even Sena couldn't refuse. For me? Thanks. She accepted it with surprisingly little resistance. Everything was going according to plan. What flavor do you get, Nishijo? For me, it's soda or nothing. Sena excitedly tore open the wrapping and took out the popsicle. It might have just been my imagination, but it also looked like her mouth had curved into a slight smile. Man, just how obsessed with those things are you? You're practically asking for a stomachache. Mine's cola flavor. Excuse me? Cola flavor's hearsay. Excuse me. Cola flavor's heresy. Burn in hell. Sorry. I made her mad. I thought about telling her off for getting upset over something so trivial, but I figured I'd keep my mouth shut. Anyway, taking a bite out of her Garigari-kun, Sena shifted her probing gaze to me. What do you want? Why did she have to be so intimidating? The look in her eyes could turn me to stone. All I wanted was to ask for help, but it felt like the sheer anxiety alone was going to kill me. I was already bad enough at talking to 3D girls as is. I took a few deep breaths and just barely managed to calm myself down. I want you to help me. What's that supposed to mean? I'm being targeted by the new gen culprit. I told you about him before, remember? That Shogun guy. I know for a fact that he's reading my mind. He can read minds? What is he? Like I'd know. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out.
People in Shibuya can read minds are few and far between. They could either be a gigalomaniac, or perhaps the people at Nozomi. Nozomi? Nozomi Technology, a company that's trying to control the world using Project Noah.
What was she on about? It sounded like some kind of conspiracy theory. Could Shogun be a member of that organization, though? Help me, please. I'm begging you. I felt myself rapidly sinking further into despair. I wanted something, anything to cling on to. Something that would save me. Sena took another bite of her garigari-kun, then furrowed her brow. I already told you. If you keep going but half-ass it, your delusions will devour you from within. Knowing that, do you have the resolve to move forward? No way. Of course I'm not. That's why I'm asking for you to help me. I can't take this anymore. Why does it always have to be me? Sapped of all my willpower, I fell to my knees. Don't do this to me. Just protect me. What do you want me to do? I don't want to do anything anymore.
So, you don't have any resolve.
I felt her cold glare pierce through me. I could clearly tell how pathetic I was being, so all I could do at that point was hang my head in shame. This Shogun person bothers me. If they're from Nozomi, does that mean they're one of the people behind Nujin? If so, I can't ignore it. With a frown, Sena muttered that to herself as she looked out the window. She seemed to be deep in thought, but she kept chewing on her garigari-kun regardless. Hello? Not long after I said something, Sena suddenly got up from her seat. You lose. She was now standing in front of me.
You want me to protect you?
Damn it, she was always looking down on me. Did this bitch have a dominatrix fetish or something? Despite insulting her inside my head, I gave her a meek nod. In other words, this means we'll be working together from now on. In other words, this means we'll be working together from now on. That all right with you? As long as you protect me, anything's fine. Protecting myself from Shogun's attacks is my highest priority right now. If you'll really protect me, then no, I don't have any objections.
It's settled then.
Sena extended her hand toward me. I stared blankly at those delicate fingers of her, unsure what they were trying to convey. Growing impatient, Sena grabbed my hand and pulled me up. Our eyes met, if only for an instant. Having our gazes intertwine at such a short distance made me frantically avert my eyes. Then she let go of my hand. All right, let's move. And then, as if to spur me onward, turned her back toward me. Move where?
To Nozomi Technology's head office.
What?
We're going to infiltrate it.
Infiltrate? Like into the enemy base? No, what? Was this stupid bitch thinking? Did she have a death wish? Well, this game was over. God, I was such an idiot for thinking I could rely on her. Like hell I was going anywhere near there. I wanted nothing to do with this. I wasn't the kind of person to just waltz right on into my death. I was the type of person who'd tell someone, wow, that fucking plan sucks, and then ditch them. Ignoring my look of disbelief, Sena strolled briskly out the door. However, I, meanwhile, stayed right where I was, refusing to budge an inch. Suddenly, I realized I could no longer move my arms. I glanced down at my body. What? Before I could even blink, a white chain had coiled around my body. And on top of that, it was wrapped around me very, very tight. Even when I tried to force it off, it refused to budge an inch. How did this even happen? Stop wasting time. Sena poked her head out of the window, then urged me to come quickly. I felt the chain wrapped around my body being tugged. I tried to resist, but I no longer had full control of my body. The chain led outside the train carriage and ended when it reached Sena's hand. She was holding it. She was the one pulling me. So this was what queen and slave exhibitionist humiliation roleplay was like. Seemed legit. Wait, no, it was nothing like that. What the fuck? God damn it. I was such an idiot for thinking I could rely on Sena. I'd clearly picked the wrong person for this. Someone help me. I can't take this anymore. Nozomi's main branch Nozomi's main branch was apparently within walking distance of Shibuya Station, but my mental strength had already completely drained before we even reached it. After all, Sena had been parading me right around the smack middle of Shibuya. It went without saying that practically every cell phone in existence had been pointed at me, and with that, my dark past had grown even darker. There was definitely a thread on it on at channel by now. Esper Nishijo indulging in puppy play with black-haired beauty in Shibuya. The DQNs were never gonna let me hear the end of this. No matter how much I pleaded with Sena, she refused to remove the chains. Right now, it's imperative that you stand out as much as possible. This is doing just that, don't you think? She was constantly spouting all sorts of nonsensical reasoning like that. Seriously, what kind of bullshit logic was that? Anzai-sensei, you want to be a man who stands out in front of the crowd. And I asked her anything like that? No, I fucking hadn't. Strolling right into the enemy base? What the hell was she thinking? We could be killed at any moment. Completely ignoring my complaints, Sena casually entered the fancy building, dragging me right along with her. After all, the chain had given me no choice in the matter. The grandeur of the expensive lobby standing before me took my breath away. The Nozomi Group. It had apparently been one of Japan's leading conglomerates. A place like this was so far removed from the life of a student like me, it felt like a completely different world. I'd never set foot in a building quite like it before. The size of the lobby, the practical enshrinement of all the hot... of the... This nigga, I can't stand him. Of the hot girls at the reception desk. I had to take a moment to breathe. Wait, we were in a company workplace. Should have been off limits to unauthorized personnel. Both Sena and I were wearing Suime uniforms, so we were very obviously high school students. Not only that, but I was wrapped up in a chain too. We were practically screaming that we were intruders. For Sena to disregard this and enter the building like she owned the place, I began to doubt her sanity. The moment we entered through the automatic doors, I made eye contact with one of the receptionists. Let's go back. I was hesitant to go any further than we already had, but Sena didn't stop moving. Stop worrying. We moved past the reception desk and headed toward the elevator in the back. And nobody said a word to us. What the hell? Sena didn't get on the elevator, though. Instead, she chose to go for the fire escape near the hall. Beyond the door was a dimly lit emergency staircase, and that was where she finally stopped. Everyone in the building is convinced that we're Nozomi employees. Suddenly, before I could even blink, the pressure on my body disappeared. When I looked down, I saw the chain around me had vanished without a trace. And the next thing I saw was the D-sword in Sena's hand. Was that chain just a delusion Sena had real booted from her gigalomaniac powers? So Sena had sent antiparticles into my dead spots, this time making the real booted chain instantly disappear? Why would they think we're Nozomi? Because I made them. Them being everyone that observes us. She made them? She could do that? Sena then looked up at the top of the staircase. Something resembling a surveillance camera was installed there. It had a red light affixed to it, and it let out an eerie sound as it surveyed the room. Can you make the cameras believe it too? Maybe if I tried to. I never tested it before. Either way, there's no need to. Why not? Won't they catch us? This is ridiculous. Destroying the cameras is the first things you should do in any stealth mission. Everyone knows that fucking idiot. Well, everyone who played a video game before at least. I already told you, you need to stand out. And that's exactly what I don't get. Aren't you contradicting yourself? You made them assume we're Nozomi employees in order to camouflage us. Then you turn around and say you need to stand out. Which is it? Which exactly are you trying to do? All everyone ever does is speak in riddles. Do you all think I'm an idiot or something? What do you all think to yourselves? If I try to explain it, he won't get it. You do, don't you? Fuck you! Damn it. I'm smart, people. My IQ is absolutely higher than Sena's, no doubt about it. Why? As I bit my lip in frustration, Sena took off on her own up the stairs, leaving me behind to continue seething. Did this girl have any actual interest in protecting me? No, she didn't. After all, she'd already put me in harm's way by dragging me into this building. But regardless of her intentions, I just wish she'd stop rushing ahead on her own. She could at least tell me where she was going and what she was trying to do. Just give me some sort of explanation, please. Why were we using the staircase instead of the elevator anyway? I suck at exercising secretly. Riding the elevator would be suicide. Sena's voice rang out from above me. Had she read my mind again? With a sigh, I started heading up towards the stairs toward her voice. Sena was waiting 2 stories above me. As soon as I caught up, she started climbing again. If we rode the elevator inside the enemy headquarters, we'd just end up getting cornered, wouldn't we? I suppose that's true. More importantly, Nishijo, tell me about this Shogun. When they initially start coming after you? About a month ago. And you've talked with them before, correct? When I nodded in response, Sena stopped dead in her tracks and looked down at me. From a few stairs above. What did they say? A lot of things. It took a moment to tell Sena about everything Shogun had set up to that point, as well as the fake kidnapping he'd staged to try and scare me. Does the name Hatano ring a bell? No? Shogun might have mentioned him. Think harder. Hatano. I'd never heard the name before. Who is Hatano? A man affiliated with Project Noah. I didn't know him. I didn't even know what Project Noah was. Fine. If you don't know, then forget it. Sena turned away in a huff and resumed in silence. There's still more. We'd gone up at least 20 stories with next to no breaks. I'd probably never climbed so many stairs in my entire life. I was exhausted. I didn't want to climb anymore. Sweat trickled down my forehead, stinging at my eyes. I wiped it off over and over again with my hands, but it continued to bead no matter what I did. My legs felt heavy. I couldn't breathe. It felt like I was going to suffocate. I planted my hands on my knees in an attempt to catch my breath. Drops of sweat fell from my face and dotted the floor. How much farther? The presidential office is apparently on the top floor. 31. 10 more floors to go. Hold on, why was I even going along with this in the first place? All I'd done was ask Sena to protect me. So why was this happening to me? My heavy breathing reverberated through the quiet staircase. Surprisingly, Sena didn't try to go on ahead after I caught up this time. Instead, she leaned against the wall and stared at me with a blank expression on her face. It seemed like she was finally letting us take a short break. Mounted above, Sena was another one of the security cameras. They were installed on every floor. No way they hadn't found out that we'd been climbing the staircase by now. Security guards could arrive at any moment. The reason I didn't tamper with the security cameras earlier. Suddenly, Sena began to murmur something. It's because if the Shogun member is a member of Nozomi,
He could be in this very building. I thought we could lure him out. So what you're saying is you're using me as bait? Yeah, that's right. I initially had no interest in Nozomi. Even deciding to infiltrate this building was an irregularity. I obviously planned to destroy Project Noah at some point, but now isn't the time. I have something else that takes priority. She'd become awfully talkative all of a sudden. Was she going to finally explain why we were here? But Sena didn't reveal what that something else was. From what you've told me, this shogun knows something. It could even be something about Hatsuno. For a split second, her face stiffened upon saying that name. Were they really that terrible of a person? Relax, Nishijo. You're getting something out of this too. In exchange for you being the bait, I'll protect you. And also, you want to learn the Shogun's identity, right? To eliminate the threat, you need to go on the offensive. Sena abruptly stopped. She then frowned, stepped away from the wall, and readied her gigantic D-sword right in the middle of this narrow, cramped stairway. What's going on? Sena didn't answer. She peered down the stairwell, then up, only to freeze in place. That voice. Where is it coming from? A voice? Who the hell are you? She suddenly shouted. I thought she might have been shouting at the security camera, but her gaze was directed farther upward, toward the ceiling. It couldn't be. I had a bad feeling about this. Unable to resist the bait, I looked up at the ceiling. Naturally, Gullible was written on it. After all, I couldn't hear the voice, but I had a good idea of what it was. Shogun! He was reading our minds using some satellite way up in the sky, and he was making Sena hear some kind of voice. Sena! Don't listen to that voice! Ugh. I promptly grabbed hold of her shoulders and shook her. It doesn't seem like Shogun is a part of Nozomi. I was right. She had heard Shogun's voice. You're being tricked. He's an enemy. Don't believe anything he says. I hear something. Huh? My hands were still gripping her shoulders. She responded by grabbing my wrist tightly. Her nails dug in deep, shooting pain throughout my entire body. My face twisted in. Nishijo, I hear something. Be careful. A flash of light burst into my head. From that light, an image came forth. A dark room, a puddle of blood staining the floor, a modern art piece resembling that of a crucifix. Someone was bound there, with their head lifelessly hanging down, their clothes stained in blood, their right hand cruelly severed. I'd seen it. I'd seen it clearly. That was without a doubt. Nanami. Nanami's here, somewhere in this building. She had been kidnapped by Shogun. Her wrist. That wasn't a delusion. That was real. I had to find her. I wasn't able to save her before, and now Sena was suffering secretly too. So I had to find her. This time for sure. I had to do something. Calm down, Nishijo. The likelihood of this being a trap is... Just a minute ago, you believed what Shogun said, didn't you? I finally shook Sena's hands off me. The presidential office was on the first floor. Seriously, listen to the sound. It's a different delusion than Shogun's interference. I ignored her and sprinted up the stairs. This was no time to complain about my exhaustion. I was desperate. Nanami was suffering, and it was my fault. It was all my fault. I'd failed her back then. I'd run away. She must resent me. Forgive me. I'm a pathetic excuse for an older sister. Damn it. I wanted power. I wanted a D-sword like Sena's. Why? Why couldn't I get my hands on one? It was all I asked for. Nanami. Don't die. I'm begging you. Nanami! I had made it to the giant 31st floor.
and there was only one entrance to it. Wasting no time, I flung it open and dove straight through. And just like that, I was in the very same room I saw in the vision. Several monitors hung from the ceiling, each displaying the word Nozomi on a white background. I looked all over for Nanami. The room was so dark I couldn't make anything out clearly, but there were no signs of life. No movement, no breathing, nothing at all. Nishijo! Chasing after me, Sena flew through the open door. She forcefully grabbed my hand. We're getting out of here, now. This is a trap. But Nanami is... Can't you hear the sound? Suddenly, the door that we'd left open slammed shut all on its own. The room grew even darker. Shit! She'd ran to the door and wrestled with the knob, but it refused to budge. Then the outline of the D-sword in her hand suddenly faded to nothing. It was almost as if it had completely dissolved. We've been locked in. Can't you just get us out using your powers? I can't form delusions properly. Sena's face twisted. She rubbed her temples and weakly shook her head. I was getting a headache. I only noticed it when I'd regained my focus. It wasn't severe by any means, but the mere, faint pain. The minor, faint pain. It seemed to reverberate from the very center of my head and make that throbbed and throbbed and throbbed. I feel kind of lightheaded. Nanami, where are you? Is this one of Shogun's traps? Is Shogun my ally? What kind of company is Nozomi Technology? Sena has... Who's Hatsuno anyway? Weird. I'm losing my train of thought. We're being hit with biorhythmical attacks. The display on two of the monitors overhead suddenly changed. In place of the Nozomi logo, the faces of two middle-aged men appeared, one on each monitor.
My word, the youth of these days know no fear. Of course, this is meant entirely in a negative sense. Indeed. Perhaps this is the result of the lax education system you... I was merely executing the plan as specified by the Committee of 300, a single link within the chain of the worldwide human domestication project. It was a serviceable program.
What was going on? Who were these people? The fact that you were also the one to shut it down proved quite amusing. I imagine that fell quite outside the Committee of 300's expectations.
Yes, Mr. Kuramochi. Just ignorant to our ambitions, they fully intended to rule the world without a shred of opposition. To them, such an action served as a declaration of war.
Conquering the world does not require the power of 300. The two of us are more than enough. What were those two talking about? Then, right as I was thinking that, the two men on the monitors turned their stares to me. Placing the matter aside for now, it all went exactly according to Mr. Donose's predictions. I never would have thought anyone would be foolish enough to wander directly into our nest.
If we were to leave them here for a week, they would grow far too debilitated to resist. After which, how about we return and treat ourselves to a rousing torture show?
We've already collected and stored Hatano Sena's code sample in our database. Hatano Sena? Who was that? We would be better off brainwashing her. Once that is done, shall we make her our soldier?
My god, dude, I propose we not only make her our soldier, but our plaything as well. Enslaving our own little gigglomaniac girl sounds like an even better option.
I see your tastes are just as refined as mine, Mr. Inohana.
Well then, our dear little gigglomaniacs, please enjoy your confinement to the fullest.
1 week from now,
Project Noah will have brought a drastic change upon the world. You have my greatest sympathies for not being able to bear witness to the moment of reform. The old men disappeared from the monitors, and the room was covered in darkness once again. It'd been a trap. It all been a trap. To think 2 grown men, one of which I was sure was a member of the House of Representatives, would join forces just to trap some random otaku freak like me. This couldn't be real. It had to be a fucking joke. Nanami wasn't here. She had to be in prison somewhere else. I felt absolutely pathetic for playing right into their hand. If I had known this would happen, I would have just listened to Sena. To think that oh my god, fuck! To think the founder of the Cosmic Church of Divine Light and a member of the Diet would both be a part of the Committee of 300. Sena slammed her shoulder against the entrance again and again, but it refused to give in. It had probably been locked from the outside, and seeing as it was extremely sturdy, trying to bust it open would likely be impossible. The Committee of 300? If I remembered correctly, wasn't that the name of an organization which occasionally popped up in conspiracy theories? Did it actually exist? If you think about it, it all adds up. After all, the Committee of 300 were the ones who originally founded the theory of silent weapons. What was that Project Noah, those old guys were just talking about? Having given up, Sena stepped away from the door in defeat. She surveyed the dimly lit room with a sullen expression. It's the Silent Weapon Development Program. It's the Silent Weapon Development Program that Nozomi Technology has been pursuing. Silent weapon? To put it in layman's terms, it's a mind control device that operates over an extensive range. Mind reading, visual projection, and control over the 5 senses. It doesn't harm you physically. It has no sound, no color or scent, and it's invisible to the naked eye. However, it is sure to slowly and quietly contaminate the minds of the masses. Silent weapon attacks can be executed without anyone noticing. Isn't that just like the powers of a gigalomaniac? Of course, silent weapons originated from the idea of artificially creating gigalomaniacs after all. It was all so insane that it didn't even feel real. But in the end, that was just the way things were. I was no hero. Even if I was told that an insane conspiracy that was true and was currently unfolding in Shibuya, I wouldn't feel the slightest urge to stand against it. Even if I were to go out and fight, I wouldn't be able to help anyone. I'd just leave it to someone who was actually useful. Maybe, just maybe, the new gen incidents, as well as the endless string of bizarre events that have been plaguing me, were all related to this Project Noah. If that was the case, I would need to leave Shibuya as soon as possible in order to protect myself. All I wanted was for Nanami to be safe, me to be safe, and for us to live in peace. That's all I wished for. For that to happen, I needed to find a way out of here. And I couldn't stand the thought of being stuck in a place like this for upwards of a week, especially with there being no sign of food or water anywhere. Oh, so that's what those old guys have been talking about. If we didn't eat or drink anything for a week, we'd eventually start to break down. Worst case scenario, we could even die. Sena, find a way to get us out of here. You fucking bitch. The door won't open. The door. Sena looked utterly exhausted. What about your D-sword? For some reason, I can't summon it. My powers are being blocked. This is a silent weapon attack, Nishijo. A silent weapon attack? The hell? Are you saying there's no way out? Sena, with a look of pure exhaustion, slumped down on the floor. Are you okay? Damn, my body feels so heavy. And there's some kind of weird feeling. Like my chest is being constricted. Her breathing shallow. Sena undid a few, but oh my god. Even in the dark, I could see that her skin was drenched in sweat. Despite her situation, I found myself getting flustered. Come to think of it, it did feel pretty hot in here. Hey, do you have any water? Of course I didn't, but I was getting thirsty too, and fast. The thought of spending a full week in this heat without a drop of water made me feel utterly hopeless. Sena was staring fixedly at me. I knew there was no way I'd be able to maintain eye contact with a real girl, so I desperately looked away. But I could still feel her gaze piercing through me. Don't look. No, I don't. When I answered, I took a quick glance at Sena. Our eyes met. Hold up. What was up with those shimmering eyes of hers? She looked love-struck, or some shit. Well, I was both a virgin and never had a girlfriend before, so I didn't know if that actually happened in reality. Panicking, I turned my back to Sena and gulped down my building saliva. What is this? Careful, Nishijo. They might be manipulating our emotions. Huh? What do you mean? When I look at you, I feel an unbearable longing. Damn it! What the hell kind of attack is? So the attack involved making Sena feel like she'd fallen in love with me? Or could it be that she already had feelings for me to begin with? Yeah, no way in hell. Use your brain, Takumi. What the hell are they using to manipulate our emotions? In the end, human emotions are nothing but electronic signals flowing through our brains. Technology to interfere with those signals is being researched all over the world. In the worst case scenario, it may have already been put into practice. And if we're being hit by a silent weapon, like Noatsu, doing so would be child's play. Do you get it now? This is what I meant back when I said the world was an electronic device. Does that mean it's like a program? Lines of ones and zero? It'd be incredibly easy to tamper with something like that. It's a scientifically proven fact that electronic signals run through our brains. So in reality, not only our emotions, but both the mind and soul are reducible to mere electricity. Wait a second. That's no different from 2D, is it? For example, let's look at a heroine from an eroge. Risolet from ESO, the anime version of Seratan and Sena. What's the difference between the four of them? If what Sena says about everything in the world being an electronic device is true, then there are no differences. They're all the same, mere electronic signals running through a device. I felt like I finally, albeit vaguely, understood why Sena had used the word error. If all of that was true, then this Noatsu weapon would be like some super deadly virus, or someone using cheats in order to PK. Not even Neidhart could win against those kinds of people. And not only that, but compared to Neidhart, I was ridiculously shitty at playable character. So in the end, being trapped here and starving to death like a pathetic loser, well, that was a pretty fitting game over for me. It's not my fault. This blatant death flag. It's because of the person controlling me. It's all their fault. Nigga, this is a book. Fuck my life. Cradling my head, I curled into a ball. Around 28 hours had passed since we first got locked in here. During that time, I had dozed off and lost consciousness countless times. I had been overwhelmed by a surge of uncontrollable emotions, with depression, mania, and other similar feelings leaving me mentally exhausted. Sen and I hadn't said a single word to each other the entire time. She'd pretty much been completely and entirely useless since you had been too. Okay, you have been too. The final ray of hope was the PC. Aside from the ones that showed detestable faces of Diet member and that religious founders, there was a ton of monitors decorating the room, and every one of them was connected to a single PC. Since the PC was connected to the internet, I tried posting a bunch of SOS messages on various boards, but it had all been in vain. I hadn't been able to post anything at all. The PC could download just fine, but uploading was completely throttled. Any attempts at sending chat messages or emails were completely snuffed out. Under the orders of those two old guys, someone somewhere had been watching us. But why were they letting us access any information at all? I would soon learn the answer to that question. A few hours after starting to gather info online, I checked the articles tab of Taboo on a whim. Riot breaks out at Shibuya Scramble Crossing. An article with that title caught my eye. And immediately after that, it happened. It all began with a tremor from below. The floor, no, the very building itself started to shake violently. The very next moment, I was struck with a violent ringing in my ears. It was such an intensely shrill, resonant sound, my head felt like it was about to burst open. I looked at Sena, who was covering her ears in agony. And then, a thunderous roar. The entire building thrashed around violently, as if the world itself was trying to make a gigantic milkshake. Unable to stay upright anymore, I tumbled over and my back crashed against the wall. Sena was crouched down in the center of the room, curled into a ball. And above her head, the monitor fixed to the ceiling was swaying back and forth like a pendulum. The world suddenly went into slow motion. The swaying of the monitor slowed down. With a dull sound, the aluminum pole holding the monitor snapped, and it fell down, ever so slowly towards Sena. It was a feeling I had experienced once before. It was exactly like when Ayase had jumped off the school roof. She was going to die. If that gigantic monitor fell on her head, Sena would die. I couldn't make it in time. There were roughly 5 meters between us. Besides, I didn't have the courage to risk my life to save her anyway. Even so, a delusion flared to life inside my head. In that delusion, I kicked off the shaking floor and bolted over to Sena. I threw my arms around her in a magnificent save. And all of that happened in an instant. In just the blink of an eye, my body teleported over to Sena, threw its arms around her, and tumbled to the floor. The sound of the monitor crashing to the ground echoed right beside my ear. Even though the room had been so dark before, my field of vision was dyed white. Along with the ear-splitting sound of an explosion, I was slammed with an even greater impact than before. And with that, my last thread of consciousness was severed. How long had I been out? My consciousness drifted in and out of a deep slumber. I felt a ticklish, slightly annoying tingle on the tip of my nose, and upon noticing that faint, ever so slightly warm sensation, slowly opened my eyes. Uh, Sina's face was only a few inches from mine. Her long hair draped over my cheeks. Her faint breaths blew right against my nose. Her eyes were closed, but her eyelashes were quivering. She must have only lost consciousness. You were really, really close. If I wanted to, I could have easily moved in and... I frantically tried to skirt away, but my body wouldn't move. That was when I finally realized what had happened. Keeping my head completely still, I tried to survey my surroundings, but it was pitch black. I couldn't make out anything. It felt like a thin film had been draped over my field of vision. There was no film. It was just a cloud of dust. It had been buried in rubble. So it wasn't that I couldn't see anything around me. It was that there weren't any gaps in the rubble at all. No matter what direction I looked in, I couldn't find a single opening. We had been lodged into an extremely cramped pocket of space beneath the rubble. Whenever I tried to force my hand or legs to move, I would hear the sound of pebbles crumbling to the ground. That sound made me realize I couldn't move or do anything at all. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. Had there been an earthquake or something? Shibuya had experienced a lot of those recently, but maybe they had all been foreshocks. If so, this could have been the biggest earthquake to hit Tokyo since the Great Kanto earthquake. Did that mean the Nozomi building had collapsed? The terrorist attack that happened in America several years back came to mind, bringing an intense wave of hopelessness with it. The fact that we hadn't been injured yet, despite being stuck in a crevice, was probably nothing more than an insane stroke of luck. Yet, being the keyword. The rubble was just barely holding itself together, maintaining an extremely delicate balance. I had no way of making sure, but it was definitely possible that dozens of tons of debris were
upon us. If I made a single wrong move, that balance would be lost, and then that massive pile of rubble would crush us in less than a second. Imagining that as my last moment, I instantly froze in fear. I didn't want to die. I couldn't handle the idea of being crushed to death in a place like this, where nobody would ever know. Hurry up and rescue me. A rescue squad. The IDF. I don't care who. Just get me out of here. Okay, maybe not that second one. I tried straining my ears to see if I could hear any people around us, but there was nothing but silence. A deafening, eerie silence. All I could hear was the sound of Sena's breathing. Damn it. Sleep like a goddamn baby, why don't you? Sena was lying sprawled on top of me. Our bodies were tightly pressed against each other, perfectly complementing one another. She was heavy. She was heavy, and being from Sena. Naturally, I could still feel Sena's breath hitting my cheek, and with it, I could smell something sweet. Perhaps because of the gari kun she was always eating. Her breaths were deep and steady. They followed a distinct rhythm, and each time she breathed, was this some kind of torture? Are you fucking kidding? No, no, hell no. Was this some kind of torture? An attack of this magnitude would cause all sense of reason within me to crumble at 5 minutes tops. I needed to wake her up somehow in order to avert this crisis. Wait, I'd have to wake her up? Would it be right for me to do that? I mean, if I woke her up and she saw the state we were in, how would she react? She was the same girl who regularly scowled at everyone and everything. So even though it was an accident far beyond my control, there was no doubt in my mind that she'd label me a pervert anyway. Considering she wouldn't be thinking clearly, there was a very real possibility that she might rip out my throat. At this distance, taking Sena's position into account, not only could she easily do that, but I'd be completely defenseless against it too. Well, it was probably a bit too extreme to be realistic, but if Sena really were to wake up in a panic, she would probably cause the rubble to collapse on us, and that'd be the end of it. What the hell was I supposed to do? If I could have ripped my hair out, I would have. But since I obviously couldn't do that, I resorted to banging the back of my head against the rubble. Through that, I was able to suppress my instinctual lust. I'm. Ugh! Startled, I cut off the delusion inside my head. Sena's voice leaked out of her mouth, mixing with her breath. It was as quiet as a whisper. Her voice was soft and frail. I would have never imagined it could come from someone who was so normally fierce and unapproachable. Her eyes were still closed. It didn't seem like she'd woken up yet. She'd been talking in her sleep. I instantly feel a pang of relief, realizing she hadn't read my impure, perverted thoughts. From behind her closed eyelids, a tiny drop fell, and with barely audible plop, it landed on my cheek. It was so very warm. Yet only after a fleeting moment it went cold. Even Sena cried sometimes, I suppose. I'm now starting to feel sad. Had something happened between her and her father? A little worried, I timidly called out to her. With a twitch, Sena's body started to stir. Her eyes gently opened. At point-blank range, our eyes met. The drowsy Sena stared at me. Her eyes were still sleeping. She didn't seem to be fully awake yet. Don't look. It's embarrassing. It didn't take long for Sena's face to instantly turn beet red. Her eyes shot open and her gaze raised from side to side. Don't move. We'll be crushed by the rubble. Rubble? I explained to Sena how we'd been buried alive by the earthquake. Right. There were these violent tremors. Then a large monitor fell from above and... You saved me, didn't you? Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it? Though I didn't have a single clue as to how. Well, thanks. I'm the one who was supposed to protect you. I never would have thought that it'd be me getting saved. I thought you'd be a lot more helpless, but turns out you can step up and be a man when you have to. Thank you. I would have never thought I'd get complimented like that in a million years. Must have been the first time in my life that I got a compliment from a real girl. Granted, Sedatan told me I was totally amazing all the time, but still. Unfortunately, our situation doesn't look great, huh? Yeah, we're pressed right up against each other. You fucking idiot, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about how we've been buried alive. Sorry. Well, being pressed up against like this isn't great either. Try doing something with your Kikolomaniac powers. You should be able to, right? That might be difficult, but I'll do what I can. Nishijo, look into my eyes. Why? We have to establish mutual recognition between us. She asked me to look into her eyes. Being squished together like this was embarrassing enough, but doing that would completely smash my sense of reason I had left. I'd go feral. Stop wasting time. I know you heard me. Look into my eyes. Urged on by Sena's voice, I reluctantly obeyed. I gazed into her eyes. Then those eyes turned directly toward me. Okay, yeah, this was really embarrassing. I'd never made eye contact with a girl for such a long time before. I never even looked people in the eye while talking to them in the first place, so I wasn't even close to comfortable with this. Making eye contact essentially meant that you were the only thing the other person was looking at. Right now, I was reflected in Sena's eyes, meaning I was the only thing she was looking at. I was monopolizing Sena's field of vision, and we were so close. Upon realizing that, I couldn't help but think that this embarrassing act was just as erotic as any H scene ever was. Curse my porn brain. Shit, I need to stop these idiotic delusions. I'm getting hard. You're making eye contact. What if Sena were able to see through me? You wouldn't normally be able to read someone's thoughts just by looking into their eyes, but Kozupi could, and Sena was a gigolomaniac as well. I couldn't do this. Making eye contact with a girl was impossible. Stop looking away, Nishijo. Despite her saying that, Sena's gaze wasn't pointed in the right direction either. I can't do this. Oh, I can't do it either. Being this close is embarrassing. Seeing Sena stained, beet red breathed some life back into me, actually. Where had all this moe come from? Was this girl not actually 3D? A girl this cute couldn't be 3D. Sena. Kawaii, Sena. It's hot in here. Sena's forehead, face, and even the nape of her neck, Attack on Titan, were drenched in sweat. With how close we were, I could even smell it. There was no wind or anything either. The rubble burying us had no openings. Was there even a way for air to pass through it at all? If not, then we were going to run out of oxygen pretty soon. Upon thinking that, I realized Sena's breathing had become really heavy. The rhythmic movement of her... No, fuck. Are you suffocating? Shut up. It's just hot. Damn it. What was I supposed to take from that? Whatever, just use your Gigalomaniac powers already.
Shouldn't you be able to make all the debris disappear like magic? Nishijo, can't you do something? I can't concentrate like this. The hell are you on about? Don't tell me you're gonna start relying on me now. How exactly do you expect me to do anything about this? Materializing a flower bed beneath ISA and saving you earlier were both just coincidences. It's not like I did anything on purpose, let alone consciously. Don't rely on me. I'm supposed to rely on you, Sena. Also, please stop breathing this warm air on me. It's actually you hot-breathed bitch. A drop of Sena's sweat fell into my mouth. It was salty. Oh, God damn it. I was on the verge of tears. My sense of reason was this close to flying out the goddamn window. It was in my mouth. Oh, I'm not reading that. Nishijo. Sena's face was still red, but she seemed to be a lot more angry than she was before. I'll fucking kill you. Huh? All I did was taste your sweat. You can't kill me for that. Besides, it's your fault for letting it drop into my mouth. Taking advantage of this. How dare. In the middle of speaking, Sena buried her face in my chest, unable to bear the embarrassment. There was no way she'd done it intentionally, but for me, that was the strongest blow of anything so far. Ah, kawaii! Her breathing, it was passing through the gaps in my clothes and directly onto my skin. Shit! Quickly realizing what she'd done, Sena pulled her head back. Aw, it could have lasted just a little while longer. Stop it! What the hell are you thinking about? She was obviously shaken. Maybe she was just used to being the tough person in the room, so someone else taking control really left her flustered. Cut off your delusions right now, Nishijo. Your, crotch. You got a fucking boner, Nishijo! What? Ah, yeah, I did feel something there. I hate this shit so much, but it's starting to get funny. Not like now that she's participating in it too, it's a bit more endearing, and therefore I can laugh at it. But when it was just him, like, oh, I'm gonna rape the shit out of this sleeping bitch, it's like, okay, well, I mean, I said to stop the goddamn delusions. Suddenly, I found my face on the receiving end of a brutal headbutt. It was a surprise attack, and a mighty strong one like that. The single strike knocked me out like a light.